surface area is 4 times pi times r times, or pi times r squared. What does pi r squared represent? What about it? What about a circle? The what? The area of a circle. So what this is saying is to get the surface area of a volume, I'm sorry, whoa, where'd that come from? It's a Monday. To get the surface area of a sphere, okay, you would take the area of the circle that would, that sphere would just sit just inside of, and times it by 4. So it'd be 4 times the area of the circle. This circle right here, like the equator of the Earth, if we took the area of that circle that represented the Earth's equator, that would, and then times it by 4, we get the surface area of the Earth. Okay, volume is 4/3 times pi r cubed, and right there is the most common mistake. People confuse these, or they put a 2 over there. Some of you might have done it right now, so look carefully to make sure you didn't make that mistake. We get in the habit of pi r squared, and we forget volume has to be in cubic units, and the only measurement in this unit is r, and so to get cubic units we have to cube it. Okay? The only measurement in this formula is r, and area is square units, so it has to be r squared. Okay? We have a radius of 4, find the surface area and volume to the nearest tenth. And also in terms of pi. So the book will ask you to find volume and surface area in terms of pi, and they'll also ask you to round. So radius of 4. So what we're saying is this distance from the center to the edge of the sphere is 4 inches. Okay? We want to find surface area. Again, if you look at it every time, it won't help you remember it. And I know I told you could use them on your notes. I mean, you could use your formula paper that you're going to make neatly on your test, but if you never write it down when you use it, then it's very likely on the day of the test you'll get them confused and you won't use the right one. So I strongly encourage you to practice copying them down. Another thing is you should show me your formula sheet at least the day before the test. Because on the day of the test, I'm going to look around and make sure you didn't do something I didn't tell you you could do. And if you've got things on your notes that I'm not allowing, then you won't have that paper to work on. So get it done right away, take advantage of it during your homework, and then show it to me ahead of time. Make sure I approve it so that you don't have it taken away from you on the day of the test. And so radius is 4. What's 4 squared? And 16 times 4? 64. And so when they say in terms of pi, that's the answer, 64 pi. In terms of pi means you have to have the letter or the symbol for pi in the answer. Now if they say round to the 10th, I would take that number on my calculator, 64 times pi on my calculator, and I'd round to the 10th. I would not use, don't use 3.14 unless they say to. If they say use pi as 3.14, then in that case, don't use the button on your calculator. the button on your calculator gives you what?
The infinite numbers of 5.
3.141592 blah 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 forever, right? And this strictly is 3.14. In some situations, the rounding would be different. And so if they say go to the tenths place and you only use 3.14, then you probably will, or not probably, but you very likely could have a rounding error. Now, if you don't have a pi button on your calculator, and they say round to the tenth, and you use 3.1415, is it 92? Is that the next two? The more of it you use, the more accurate it will be. Okay? Probably 3.1415 will always work if you're rounding to the tenths place. If you're rounding to the thousandths place, then maybe not. Okay? If you use a number that's only one digit longer than where you're rounding to, you very likely could have a rounding error with somebody else who's using the entire number. So just, I want you to be aware of that. So don't use 3.14 unless they say to. And if they say use 3.14, you need to use 3.14, not the pi button. Okay? Because it can give you different answers when you round to that location. So someone tell me what to do. No, someone tell me what is this to the tenths place? 201.1. 201.1? Okay, notice I use an equal sign here, an approximate symbol here. That's because this is an exact value. It's an exact value. There's no rounding, there's no approximating going on there. Pi represents the exact number, and 64 is an exact number, and so that's accurate. Okay? This, we rounded it off, so that's an approximate. Okay? Any questions on this surface area? Okay, volume. Volume is equal to 4/3 pi r cubed. Again, the only measurement we know is r, and it was 4. They say the exact value, or leave in terms of pi. What's 4 cubed?
64.
Times 4. 256. You can write it as 256 over 3 times pi, or you can write it as 256 pi over 3 inches cubed. That would be the exact value. The approximate value then, rounded to the tenths place, should be doing these on your calculator. Anytime we do new types of calculations, you want to make sure you know how to do them on your calculator. You know that I'm not going to do it for you in your calculator in the test, right? What you get? What did you get? What did you get? No, they want to round to the tenths place, so you got to throw pi in there too.
260.
No, you got to put the number in for pi. What is it? 268.1.
Yep.
Now let's go back to that other for a second. If you rounded this off to, what'd you get? 60 what? 85 point something, then it's no longer what they're looking for. In terms of pi, it means no rounding at all in it. Okay? So you leave it as a fraction like I had here. That's the way it should be left if it's in terms of pi. So don't round unless they say, shucks. Don't round unless they say round to the 10th place. And then when you do, throw all the numbers in. Okay? Any questions on that? The volume of a sphere is 300 pi cubic centimeters. Find the radius. Or better yet, they might say find the surface area. Sometimes they'll do that. Well, to find the surface area, you have to find the what? The radius. You have to know the radius to find the surface area, right? You have to know the radius to find the volume. What's the formula for volume?
4/3 times pi r cubed.
Okay? And we know the volume is 300 pi. Okay? That's the volume. So I need to solve for R. If I want to solve for R, I have to get rid of what? Pi. And what's happening with the pi and the R? What are they doing with it? What are they doing with it? Multiplying it, right? Pi r cubed means pi times r cubed. So to undo times, we divide. To undo times, we divide. And so my pi's cancel on both sides, don't they? So I get 300 equals 4/3 r cubed. What do I need to get rid of now? How do I do it?
Divide by 3. Multiply.
Yeah, they're dividing by 3, right? So we need to multiply by 3. What are they multiplying by? 4. So what do I do with it? Divide by 4. So in other words, I'm multiplying by the reciprocal, aren't I? When they're multiplying by a fraction to get rid of it, we multiply by the reciprocal. My 3's cancel, my 4's cancel. 4 goes into 375 times,
Yeah.
and times 3, 375, that's 15, 22, 225.
Yep.
Okay. What's that? Now I find the cube root. Someone earlier said square root. Find the cube root of 225. Well, I can't even simplify that. 225 is 15 times 15. So it's 3 times 3 times 5 times 5. I only have 2 of each one, don't I? And for cube root, I need 3 of one of them. So there's nothing I can do to simplify it. So if they wanted the exact value, I'd leave it this way. If they want a rounded value, then I would round it, okay? In this case, I changed it. I said find the surface area. So what is the
Radius?
what is the length of the radius? Thank you. Someone tell me what is the length of the radius?
Cube root of 225.
Yes. Yes, exactly what it is. It's a cube root of 225. Okay? Now, if I want to know about what that is, because I'm confused on that number because it's kind of scary looking, then I can plug it in my calculator. Did you do that? Gavin, what'd you get? Sorry, what'd you get? What is it? No, I don't think it would be 45. I mean, 15 times 15 is 225, so. Right, isn't 15 squared 225? Okay. Yes. So it's gotta be smaller than 15, because what would I times by itself? 3 times. You didn't divide it by 3, did you? It sounds like you did.
Oh, are you talking about reducing that down to? Oh, you got 6.1.
I don't even know how to do it, so.
So you're saying 6.1 times, yeah, that would be close. 6 cubed is 216. So 225 would be just a little more than 6. Cube root of it would be. So this number is around 6, but what is the number? It's the cube root of 225. You have to understand that this, as ugly as it is a number. Okay, it represents a number. It's nothing more than any other number. Nothing special about it, it's just a number. But it represents a number that's not a nice number. So if we leave it this way, we have the exact value. So let's go back to surface area. 4 times pi r squared. And so the surface area is going to be 4 times pi times cube root of 225 squared. Okay? And hopefully on a problem like this, they would say, let's round to the tenths. And so we round that to the tenths place. To be honest, I would start in here. It's all times. It's 4 times pi times all of this. I would start over here and deal with this ugly stuff, then times it by pi, times it by 4. So what do I get? I would play with this on your calculator. What did you get?
464.9 centimeters squared.
264?
464.
Oh, 464.9.
9.
I would like to see others do that. Make sure you confirm you agree with what he got. You do? Yeah, but you like it, so you might just be covered.
Nobody said that.
464.
There is no proof.
What's that?
Yeah, that's right.
You agree also? And you don't like him at all, so that must be true then.
Right.
I'm just kidding. All right. Any other questions on this? I think that was my last example. Very straightforward, but 2 new formulas. You have to play with those formulas. And be aware they could give you the diameter. What would you have to do with it?
Half it.
Divide it by 2 or half it, whatever you want to say. Okay?
Can I like rate her all the way around on the other?